One of the things I absolutely love is designing a really good class discussion around current events, political topics, high emotion issues, because it's so important that it's thoughtfully designed. And so today we're going to dive into kind of like the design component and what needs to underlie that to have a conversation that is rich, that is productive, that enables people to have multiple perspectives and seek to understand without violating the dignity of anyone. From the brilliant Dean Diana Hess, from having her on my podcast and reading her book, lots of things. This is one of my favorite. She says, make sure that you've got a tension between competing good values, right? So this idea of policy questions, that we often debate policy questions, right? But the important piece of this that underlies these, to have a rich discussion that doesn't violate dignity, is to bring two competing good values into the tension, right? Because she's talking about when we explore that tension between competing good values, she says those good value tensions are perennial, right? Those are some of her favorite issues. I would also argue that these are the ones that are not at risk of, or at least framing it in a values-driven way, are not at risk of violating human dignity. And so let's look at what some of those might be. This is adapted from Io Magwood and Christoph Fontaine-Ferrero, and I'm going to link to this article that this comes from in the description as well, so feel free to check out the full article. But value tensions might be something like individual rights versus the common good, limited versus empowered government, equity versus efficiency, right? Things that are important. And what's the balance? What's the appropriate balance? Because we can recognize that all of these values are important and there is a tension because we can't have 100% individual rights without recognizing the common good, right? There is a point at which there is so much freedom given to individuals that we violate the common good. And so what is that point? That piece is up for debate. But we can acknowledge that all of the underlying values are important, and each individual student can kind of come at it with like, here's the kind of balance that I would strike, right? So a sample question that invites discussion around this might be, what's the formula for balancing safety and freedom? And so you could interpret that in a large variety of ways. It could be policy statements, it could be a percentage point, and then they have to justify with evidence and specific policy connections, whatever you would like. But this idea of saying that there are underlying values that people hold that are important, what's the balance? I think that's a good one. This idea of like safety and freedom is an important one too. I think of the acronym BASE needs that I usually use, which is an adaptation of Glasser's 5 human needs: belonging, autonomy, survival, and enjoyment, right? These are all important things. So what, is that? I'm going to go ahead and link that article in the notes, as well as another bonus resource for you. And the article is really great. It not only is a published journal article, but it goes through and gives you a sample unit with 10 lessons around essential questions, such as how do you balance individual freedoms with the common good? So enjoy, have fun, let us know how you're using it.